When Rodelyn Knox first saw her husband race a stock car, she thought he was crazy. Then she tried it, and she beat him. And it didn't seem like such a bad idea anymore. You're going to meet AA funny car drag racer Rodelyn Knox on TV4's Evening Magazine. Good evening, I'm Robin Young, and this evening we're going to be up here in New Hampshire in two distinctly different worlds, but both of them are part of the world of a 32-year-old homemaker named Rodelyn Knox, who just happens to be one of the top female race drivers in the world. Now, half of Rodelyn's world is out here on the track at the New England Dragway, where she'll race her supercharged, highly modified, fuel-injected AA funny car at speeds of over 200 miles an hour. The other half, that's at her home in Ware, New Hampshire, where she and her husband manage a farm and try to pay for the cost of a $63,000 a year racing habit. It's tough. They said they couldn't do it, and they call her the country girl. Take the girl out of the country and put her out on the track. She's in the money. You meet Rodelyn this evening. One night about 12 years ago, Rodelyn and John Knox entered the same stock car into two different drag races. She entered the all-female powder puff division, he entered the all-male stock car. But there wasn't time to change drivers between races, so Rodelyn raced for John, and she won. Today, Rodelyn is still the better driver in the Knox racing team, but she's worked her way to the top of the drag racing ladder, to the AA funny car division. In fact, she was the third woman in the world licensed to drive a funny car. But that 7-second or so drive down the quarter-mile track is only a part of Rodelyn's life. She spends most of her time at her Ware home, raising 2 children, some chickens, and working on the car in the barn. Rodelyn is a race car driver, but she's a country girl at heart.
I basically am a country person. I like the country, and I just like what is involved in the country, the quietness of it. It's a big contrast in what I do, I know, because these AA fuel cars are just horrendous things. They're noisy and they're colorful and everything. And the country is just a super contrast that I also enjoy. One of the reasons that we got involved in drag racing is when we first started out in a regular stock type car, it was something that we could do together as a family.
Race car oil?
No, it's not race car oil. It's salad oil.
Well, just about the whole family is headed for the races this evening. 6-year-old Danny will stay home, but Brian will help load the car and assist Rodelyn's chief mechanic, John Knox.
I guess I'm proud of her for all her accomplishments, but I guess the best thing is we, like I believe she said, is we work together as a team, and she just happens to be the country girl, the driver.
It doesn't bother you at all that as the man in the team, you're not the one behind the wheel?
No, not at all. I just feel that I'm an important part of it that way, and I'd rather see Rodelyn do the driving because we feel she does a better job than any of the rest of us.
Well, the pits are filling up at New England Dragway, and even though the first race is an hour away, the Knoxes team up with their friends Terry and Kathy Kramer, and they all get into action.
It's very hectic, very exhausting, tiring, but we just love it, and it's just something that we've been working really hard at. And we spend probably around 40 or 50 hours a week just working on the car. It's a great accomplishment just to go. It sounds funny, you go to the track and make a 6.5-second run with all those hours that are involved in working on the car, but it really is a great feeling to be able to do that. My responsibility as a driver, of course, is in the driver's seat, but it's everyone working together. The responsibility is for us all. But when the car is started, the body's down, and I'm in there by myself, it's me in the car, and I'm in my own little world, and it's up to me to take the car through the quarter mile as quickly and as safely as possible.
That's basically the object in all forms of drag racing. Rodelyn has worked her way up from the stock cars through the 3 divisions of funny car, A, Double B, and Double A, which all burn different fuel. Now, the Double A will burn about $60 worth of nitromethane in one run, and it's capable of speeds of up to 240 miles per hour. It might look odd, hence the name, but it's anything but funny to John Knox.
Well, at times I get apprehensive. You know, we'll see you go down the track in less than 7 seconds and over 200 miles an hour, but I have a lot of faith in her ability and our ability of setting up the car.
Before the race, the drivers burn out or spin their wheels to warm up the tires and increase traction.
The country girl will be in lane number 1 on your side of the track. Rodelyn's ready to go. She wants to go racing.
Going that fast in a quarter mile, it's been described as the feeling of being in a guided missile, and that's the only way I can describe it. It's like when you mash that throttle on the starting line, the forces are pushing back on you, and before you know it, you've shifted and your chute is out, and it's done in 6.5 seconds. And it's amazing. The first time that I went over 200 miles an hour, I've been 216, and the first time I went over 200 miles an hour in less than 6 seconds, wow. It was a great feeling.
Let's have a big round of applause. The only active Double A female funny car driver anywhere in the world, Rodelyn Knox. 32. She would have had a 6-second run at over 200 miles an hour were it not for the early shoot in the previous round of competition.
Well, it was not such a good night at the races. Rodelyn and her crew just lost the first 2 races, and the third one got rained out. So the country girl, both the car and the driver, will head back to the countryside. But they'll be back.
One of the great success stories in NTPA pulling. It's Rodelyn Knox out of Weir, New Hampshire. She's the NTPA Rookie of the Year. She's also a member of the Pulling Family of the Year. Her son Brian is staging the tractor, and he's recognized by many people in drag racing as well as in tractor pulling as being an expert in flow systems. He's able to go through and get fuel injection worked out like nobody's ever been able to do it. And the amazing thing about this young man is he's less than 25 years of age. The other exciting success story is the lady right now strapped into the Massey Ferguson Sassy Massie. And in her early 40s, Rodelyn Knox is only in her 2nd year of tractor pulling. She did spend a number of years drag racing. She's definitely going to hammer down right here. Oh, great story right here. Rodelyn Knox can definitely make it happen. She's not afraid to lean on the engine. What a great run by Rodelyn Knox. What a great run by Rodelyn Knox as she came down the track. What has happened, an earlier competitor has cut across the track, causing a groove at about mid-track. That's why we've seen the modifieds veer to the left line over there. And the most amazing thing is that's going on as she was able to power right through it. Take it right through. Rodelyn Knox is not afraid to hammer and lean on those JP1 engines. An incredible bit of effort by the young lady from Weir, New Hampshire, and Rodelyn Knox. Our first puller coming up will be Rodelyn Knox. Rodelyn Knox, the Sassy Massie pulling team, MF Industrial sponsored, 6 JP1 Racing Hemi engines. Last year's Rookie of the Year, took 3rd in Grand National points, and this team is tough. Rodelyn Knox spent 11 years as a double alcohol funny car runner. She got into tractor pulling a year ago. Her son Brian, age 24, spends a lot of time working on these Joe Pisano 1 Racing Hemi engines. They are definitely tough. And we'll see if the lady from Weir, New Hampshire can put it all together tonight. The final night of the Lions Grand Nationals at Chapel Hill, Tennessee. Rodelyn Knox spots the sled to the left. The lights are on the Luke Eliminator. Here comes the green flag, the unlimited modified 9,200 pounds of pulling power. Here she comes, the country girl. She got off the throttle very, very quickly as she headed to the sideline. A good bit of driving right there. She broke right to the sideline and had to get on and cut it off real quick. What are your intentions? Do you know what happened with the tractor?
Yeah, we just were, the track is better tonight. It lifted the front end higher than we thought. So we need to move more weight forward. So Rodelyn shut it down because it was turning left too hard on her.
So she'll drop 6 and come back?
We're going to drop 6 and come back, and we don't think there's anything wrong with the tractor.
Good. We'll let you get back to work. John Knox saying, boy, that track's good. She's going to drop and come back. They're going to have to rework the weights. The Country Girl Sassy Massie pulling team will be back. Rodelyn Knox out of Ware, New Hampshire, the Rookie of the Year last year on the Grand National circuit. 3rd place in points last year. Started the season off pretty weak, but was able to come back in the past couple of weeks and put together some completely awesome runs. Her son Brian out front to drive her back, to stage her just like a drag racer. Rodelyn spent 11 years in the cockpit of a top alcohol funny car. She knows exactly what to do. She built a roll cage that she sits in so that she would feel at home. 6 JP1 Racing Hemi engines on the Sassy Massie pulling team, sponsored by MF Industrial, a tough running vehicle.
What about it, ladies? You better zero.
Rodelyn Knox right out the gate will have a pull-up. 6 JP1 engines, really, really humming. The crowd goes nuts. Rodelyn Knox takes it right out, and she's lots and lots and lots of feet away from the full pull line. She's forced to pull off right here. Rodelyn, an excellent pass for you. Just a great pass in the Sassy Massie.
We're real happy with it. Our first pass, we didn't have the weights right, and this time I think we got it right on.
Best of luck in a pull-off.
Thank you.
Gotta say, she's a crowd favorite right here. Rodelyn Knox out of Ware, New Hampshire, into the pull-off right here with the Sassy Massie. Our first competitor will be Rodelyn Knox, coming right out of the gate with the Sassy Massie Country Girl. Rodelyn Knox, the Sassy Massie pulling team out of Ware, New Hampshire, had a good full pull. A lot of incredible horsepower coming out of this one right here. Definitely a crowd favorite in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. The ladies really like this one because she's won here before. And we'll see if she can battle the big boys right here. 4 in a pull-off. It's the ladies' turn right now behind those 6 JP1 Racing Hemi engines. Let's listen to them go to work. Knox and the Sassy Massie. What a beautiful run as she goes straight out, coming up, hurling rooster tails in the air all over Chapel Hill, Tennessee. It's raining dirt. Rodelyn Knox takes the lead, 294 feet and 4 inches. What an incredible pull here at Chapel Hill. Rodelyn Knox, what a weekend it's been for you. You win here last night, and you come back tonight against the big boys, and you take them and you put the big dogs on the porch again.
I'm almost speechless. I knew the tractor was running well, and we made some changes to it before we came here, and it just worked. It just went so well. Brian worked really hard this week, and we spotted the sled tonight. John and Brian always spot the sled for me, and I never question that. And they spotted it really crooked, and I'm thinking when I'm backing up, I hope this works, and it sure did.
I'll tell you something, it worked in a super stock class also, where they kind of spotted the sled, let the tractor drift away. I'll tell you something, you're a crowd favorite here in Chapel Hill.
Well, I love it here. Even if I didn't win, I would go away feeling great because these people are just the best. The fans and all the people that put on the pull, I mean, they just make us feel so welcome, and I love it here.
I got to tell you something, the Sassy Massie pulling team's got to be just absolutely on cloud nine.
We are.
Congratulations to you. Rodelyn Knox wins the unlimited modified class not once, but twice this year, and last year she picked up a win. She likes pulling here at Chapel Hill, Tennessee.
Welcome back to Inwood, Ontario, the Twin Creek Grand National NTPA tractor pull. We're into the big Monster Unlimited tractors. Here's one of the best, Rodelyn Knox from Weir, New Hampshire. Country Girl is the name of the ride.
The former drag racer, Rodelyn Knox, doing another form of drag racing, as it were. Man, I'd like to know what kind of wheel speed. What are they doing here? 125, maybe 130 miles an hour?
Oh, yeah, these 6 all-aluminum Hemis, the JP1s, really put out the horsepower. Look at the twist in this tractor. Once she gets it up to peak RPM, the red flag calls it off. And a full pull.
Hey, yeah.
Nice job for Rodelyn Knox, one of 3 female modified pullers in the business, and a good one, too.
She sure is. Got the whole family working for her. Son Brian builds the engines. Now we have 2 full pulls.
Well, the question is not whether or not Rodelyn Knox is a great female driver. It's just flat-out great driver. Rodelyn, you joined Mike Piper in the pull-off.
Well, that's great. I think there'll be some more out, so it'll be a good pull-off, and that was a real strong run for us. It was a tough run. The tractor kind of moved around a bit, but we got it out.
Any changes for the second lap?
I think we'll probably basically go the same. I think the weights were pretty good, so we'll probably run it like it was.
Best of luck in the pull-off.
Thanks a lot.
She's the only female, a daunting fact at best. Whatever possessed her to get into pulling in the first place?
Well, I started drag racing in 1968 with my husband John, and it was kind of an evolutionary thing. I drove several different classes in drag racing, and from 1968 to 1979. And in 1979, I needed to retire. I needed a break from racing, so my husband and my son Brian decided to build a pulling tractor, and they had a driver for several years, and in 1989 they needed a driver for the pulling tractor, and my son Brian said, "Mom, do you think you'd like to drive?" So since I had a background in racing, I decided to drive for him, and it's worked out really well for our family.
Now for the next roadblock. Has she had any problems with the male co-competitors?
I think that I've become very competitive in the last year, and sometimes I feel a little bit of, not flack, but I just feel a little bit of, pressure a little bit. Yeah, I do feel it this year.
She's achieved so much so quickly. What's next?
Well, we run on the NTPA Grand National Circuit, and we would like to win a Grand National points event. This year, we're just bumping on the door to 3rd place, and we were hoping to get a first this year, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen for us this year. So next year, we're going to really try real hard to come in first, and that's our goal. That's one of the goals that we've set for ourselves as a team.
It seems the country girl has it all. Success, determination, a devoted family. Yes, I'd say Sassy Massie, Rodelyn Knox is very comfortable with life in the fast lane.
Now it'll be interesting to see what Rodelyn Knox does with her machine, the country girl.
Something else key that he said too, Vic, now getting them aligned perfectly straight, right where they want to and where they think they're going to get the...
This is son Brian.
Yeah, get the tractor and the tires to sit down into the track for maximum bite. He said the tires are a little bit too hard, riding on the top of the hard track. Rodelyn wants to get that tire pressure perfect, to get that thing to sit down inside rather than right on top.
And Dave Vander said this is what she has advantage when it comes to tires. But look at this.
Twist that thing.
Yeah,
twist that thing.
Right on the line. 256.2. Problems for the country girl. She got it going left and couldn't bring it back.
Well, that's a disappointment. Not the run that Rodelyn was looking for. John and Rodelyn standing by.
Well, Rodelyn, from the starting line to 200 feet, it looked great, but then it started to make a move to the left-hand side. You had to correct and shut it down?
Yeah, I did. It really torqued to the left, and I was on the brake really hard, and I just couldn't turn it. The track really pulled me to the left, so I just shut it off a little bit.
Well, you've thrilled everybody here tonight in second place against Piper. Is nothing to be ashamed of.
Well, Mike did a great job tonight. He ran real well, and I'm real proud of him. He did a good job, and second place is all right.
There you go. I'm very happy, Rodelyn Knox.
Let's have another look at this run here. We talked about the twist, the torque twist of this track.
Oh, yeah, it pulled severely to the left. You can see the chalk line down, and she barely kept both feet in bounds.
All right, back to give you the final totals from Inwood on Raceline. We'll do it in a moment. Rodelyn Knox out of Weir, New Hampshire, at the wheel of the Country Girl. Engines by the late Joe Paisano. JP1 Hemis at full song.
In her second year of national competition, showing the guys that the girls can do it too with a full pull, and she becomes our second modified through the Twin Creek Grand Nationals on TSN.
Well, there's 6 JP1 all-aluminum Hemi engines. They may be loud, but they were not loud enough to drown out the crowd. Rodelyn, they just went nuts.
That's great. That's what we're here to do, to please everyone, and that was a real good run. The track is excellent as it was last night. All the motors ran real well. The front end was up, and it just couldn't be better.
Well, you got to go into pull-off. You're at least in there with Walsh.
That's okay. We'll give him a good run.
Let's watch it.
Rodelyn Knox and her son Brian, who builds the motors in this monster tractor.
Used to be a drag racer, Rodelyn Knox, so she knows all about these quick starts. Look at the torque flex here.
Tell you something, 6 JP1 Hemis are going to do that to a tractor chassis.
Big wheel spin at the finish, and yeah, shut it down before you dig a crater. 294-2 for the Country Girl.
Well, it was a great afternoon of competition here this afternoon, and we're here with the winner of the battle. Rodelyn, congratulations, a well-fought battle.
Well, it really was a battle. The competition today was really, really tough, and it was just our day. We had everything right. Brian had the motors right, and the track was our kind of track. It's a real power track, and this tractor really performs well on a track like this, and that was our advantage today.
And it wasn't easy for you. You had to do some repairs overnight, a broken ring and pinion.
Yeah, that's right. That happened yesterday in the pull-off last night when we ran, and Brian did a great job putting it back together. He worked real hard, and it paid off for us today.
Well, congratulations again.
Thanks very much.
Time now for the Revell Model Performance Driver of the Pole, Rodelyn Knox. We'll take it from New Hampshire aboard Country Girl and her son Brian doing a nice job on the motors and a masterful job down the track.
It's all in the family when it comes to Rodelyn Knox.
We'll see 5 JP1 engines. Those are the drag racing engines that Joe Pisano made so famous in NHRA drag racing. All of these things make up the Unlimited Modified. One thing they have in common, Alky Racing Alcohol. It's really an imaginative, wide-open class. Rodelyn Knox, the MF Industrial Sassy Massie, our test puller, which means she's got the option of taking the pull in the 8,200-pound class or dropping back into the class. She has definitely been setting the world on fire as an unlimited competitor. And an up-and-down points race, don't count her out. Rodelyn Knox running JP1 Racing Hemi engines. Rodelyn Knox, our test puller. Again, you run what you brung here, and you hope you brung it up in the Unlimited Modified class. Rodelyn Knox's own Chapel Hill, Tennessee, running 3:04. She comes in with a full pull that time around. We talked with her earlier in the day about what it felt to win last year, and can she repeat this year?
Boy, the competition this year is really, really tough, and we're hanging in there. It's just going to take the right combination, you know, getting the weights right on this track. It's a real power track. And if we can get the weights right on the front end and everything runs right, we've got as good a shot as anyone.
Well, Welcome back to ESPN's Challenge of Power, and the pull-off is coming up right now. Rodelyn Knox has won 3 of 4 times here at Chapel Hill, Tennessee. Vernon Corey, in his second year of pulling on the unlimited modified circuit, is now leading the points race. And of course, David Banner, anything can happen when he hooks. He's got the Bandit and Mr. Chevy coming up. Rodelyn Knox first out of the blocks here in our pull-off. Pull-off, Rodelyn Knox out of Weir, New Hampshire, in the MF Industrial Sassy Massie. I got to tell you something. Last year, the same type of thing happened. She had to come back and beat Dave Banner. Evidently, this Brian Knox-tuned JP1 Hemi engines really like to pull here at Chapel Hill, because in the 4 times she's competed here, she's won 3 of them.
Last year was just so exciting. We won the first night, the first hook on Friday night, and that was really exciting for us. And I guess I didn't expect to win twice in a row, and when we did, it was just the ultimate for us. I think John, my husband, was more excited than anybody, and it was just great. And we just hope that we can hang in there and do the same this year. We're going to try real hard.
We'll see what happens right here. She's got her work cut out for her. But the First Lady of Unlimited Modified Pulling is first out of the blocks. Rodelyn Knox turns at a distance of 283 feet and 6 inches. I got to tell you something. The MF Industrial team very, very, very tight here. But the First Lady of Unlimited Modified Pulling is first out of the blocks. I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close. Tell you something. I got to tell you something. Rodelyn Knox, you got to be so happy. You've got to love this place.
Oh, I'm telling you, I just can't believe this. This track is it's an excellent track. It's one of the best tracks that we pull on, and it just takes all the power that those Hemis can make, and I just love it.
I got to tell you something. My math's not real good, but how many times have you hooked here, and how many times have you won?
We've hooked 5 times, and we've won 4. I had to stop and think about that.
Rodelyn Knox, congratulations. A great effort here in a super unlimited modified class.
Oh, this class is really, really tough, and it really takes a lot of good people to put together a team that can be competitive in this class. And I've got my son Brian, who really does a great job building these motors. I've got a lot of good companies that I work for: MF Industrial, Kendall Oil, New England Dodge Dealers, Fram and Autolite, Supercharged Systems, and Comp Cams. And without those people, it just wouldn't be possible for us to be here. And I thank them so much, and I'm just thrilled.
4 out of 5. What an incredible record. We'll be back to wrap up the final results right after this.
Rodelyn Knox, and I'm part of the Country Girl Sassy Massie team. This will be my 4th year competing on the Grand National Circuit with our tractor. Before that, I drove drag race cars. My husband John and I started drag racing in 1968, and we raced through the 70s. We raced alcohol and fuel funny cars, and that gave me the background to do what I do now. One of the cars that I had, I drove at 230 miles an hour in 6.4 seconds, and that was back in 1979. I took a little break during the 80s, and John and Brian built their first pulling tractor. 1989, Brian decided that he wanted me to drive for him, so since I had a background in racing, I decided to drive for him, and it's worked out really well for our family. We've been very competitive. Last year, we finished second in the Grand National points. The 2 years before that, we finished third. So we're really hoping to get a first place this year.
Hello, my name's John Knox, and I'm one of the owners there of the Country Girl Sassy Massie team. My wife Rodelyn is driver and co-owner, and we're in partners with our son. Maybe I could show you a little bit about our main feature vehicle, which is our multi-engine tractor. It has 5 supercharged Dodge Hemi engines. They develop a cumulative total of approximately 8,000 horsepower, so that kind of makes Rodelyn classified the most powerful lady in motorsports. We're kind of proud of that, and she's been very competitive. We're down here in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, and last night we started off our 1993 season with a bang with a first place finish, and we're about ready to compete today in the final eliminations there, and hopefully we can come up with a repeat performance.
Give you a guided tour through the Sassy Massie Unlimited tractor, try to explain about the engines and how they work and everything that we're running on this vehicle. The tractor's powered by 5 JP1 aluminum Chrysler-based engines. They're a racing engine developed mainly for drag race cars. We use most of the drag race style components that they use in top fuel and alcohol drag cars, and we rework the engines. We run different fuel systems, camshafts, different setups, because the engines are under such a tremendous load compared to a drag race car that the setup has to be a lot different, and our engines run a longer period of time. We make runs of up to 20 seconds at a time. We help a lot of our product companies that we deal with. We do a lot of testing of new parts for them. Supercharger systems, we're working out a new billet supercharger now that's working very well, and it's taken a lot of extra fuel system development. The motors are mounted on bearings, and we have an adjustable linkage system to control the amount of torque onto the rear wheels to make the tractor go straight. It has 2 engines that are crankshaft to crankshaft, which makes like a 16-cylinder engine when you hook the 2 engines together. Then when you come back here, we have a clutch, a slipper clutch that works. It's RPM actuated, and when you rev the motor up a little bit, the weights come out on the clutch and it engages the clutch. So these 2 motors here, being like a 16-cylinder, have their own clutch, and then the other 2 on the other side also have their own clutch, and then this 5th motor also has its own clutch. So it's really like a 3-engine tractor. It has 2 16-cylinders and 1 8-cylinder, all transferring back into this gearbox here, which is straight cut gears. A lot of people think there's a chain in there, but it's all gears. And then it goes back, and there's a reverser behind that with forward, neutral, and reverse, which goes back into a truck rear end center section. And there's loader planetaries on the outside to get the reduction. If we ran a straight axle, there would be so much load on the driveline that would break everything. So we have to go through a gear reduction in the planetary. We use a truck style frame. We're one of the only teams in the sport that actually we bolt the chassis together like you would build a bridge, or any over-the-road truck is riveted together, and we bolt the chassis together. We feel it's stronger, and it's a lot better. And also, if we want to change the placement of a cross member in the chassis, we can remove it and put another one in. Also, the engines have their own separate cradles. These 2 crank-to-crank engines have a rigid frame hooking the 2 motors together as one, and then the engine frame is mounted loosely to the chassis and it has adjustable linkage, so we can control the amount of torque on the rear end.
Welcome back to Inwood, Ontario, the Twin Creek NTPA Grand National Truck and Tractor Pull. A great evening just west of London, Ontario. Some of those stars are waiting for to come up and challenge the banner guys. Here's one of them right now, Rodelyn Knox out of Weir, New Hampshire.
Well, and this lady, yes, lady,
absolutely,
has got a lot of experience with these big alcohol-burning engines, Eric. She has run as a family effort the Country Girl Funny Car team. Ran for a lot of years on the East Coast, an alcohol funny car at 220 miles an hour. She knows how to handle this stuff. Now you take 1,500 horsepower of that funny car times 5. Well, I'll tell you what. Serious wheel speed, serious horsepower.
Let's see her get it down to the ground here. Runner-up at the Indy Super Pull. That's the Daytona 500 for these guys. And she is rapidly becoming one of the stars in this division, in this sport, and only been pulling 3 years.
That's right. Still working that center to left-hand side of the track, too. Nobody's gone over to the right-hand side
This
at all.
is a good lap, John.
It really is.
Shuts it down. The crowd is going crazy here. They're on their feet at Inwood, and a full pull, and the horns are going off for Rodelyn Knox. A beauty.
Oh, yeah, and listen to him now. Yeah.
She's a fan favorite for sure. Gets herself unstrapped, a little wave to the crowd. When this thing is hooked up, it is really hard to touch.
Yeah, take a look, Eric, again. This tractor has had a tendency to always hook to the left-hand side. You know Rodelyn's working the brake right here. Here she just lets it go out the end. She knows she's safe.
Well, Rodelyn, congratulations, 307 even. Banner went 301 and the crowd went nuts again.
Well, that's good. Brian really had those Sassy racing engines running really well, and it's really fun when it runs like that.
Rodelyn, it would look picture perfect right off the line and hiked the front end. Did you have to work the brakes at all?
Definitely. I was on the brakes really hard in the middle just to keep it on that straight line, so it worked really well for us.
Well, it carried the nose and looked great. Congratulations. We'll see you in a pull-off.
Thanks very much. I'll be there.
Now, Rodelyn Knox from Weir, New Hampshire, aboard Country Girl, the best pull in the eliminations with 307.50. Has this track changed, John? Will her strategy change from her first run earlier on?
Yeah, it does, Eric. What'll happen because of the humidity in the air, and every time you pound on the ground with these things, it draws the moisture up out of the track and makes it a little bit stickier. There's 3 factors that they have to play with. Number 1 is they can tune up the motors and take a little bit of fuel away from
lean them out.
Yep. And that actually makes more horsepower. You've got gear selection. They've got a couple of different gears they can go with, and you've also got tire pressure. They'll adjust the tire pressure up and down. As you can see those tires, they almost look like slicks. They've got
just about. They shape them down, right?
Yep, that's right. They take almost a tire that's built for pulling, but they cut the big lug off. There's only about a half-inch high lug on this tire.
Because they want wheel spin.
You want speed, that's right.
Exactly.
The name of the game is friction. The more times you pass that lug by the dirt, faster and farther you go.
Rodelyn Knox has got 286.87 in the banner run to beat, and this looks like a good one.
Death smoke at the end, Eric. She's wounded a motor here.
Yeah, could be, but that's not bad, and the fans are loving it. 294.43 for Rodelyn Knox, and that'll wipe out the banner run right there.
Boy, that lady up in the stands is happy, and she's going to be about as happy, I'm sure, as Rodelyn Knox. You know, the team effort between the Knoxes, Father John, son Brian, mom and driver Rodelyn is really something else. They do this stuff for a living, and they build professional racing engines and fuel systems as well. It's really a unique situation. A good run for Rodelyn.
Now she sets it up, John, on the left side of the track here.
Same deal as she wanted to take advantage of that roll that Banner got off of that corner of the track. Now you can see that she's really fighting the brakes through here, but a good run, then death smoke.
Well, Rodelyn, there's no doubt about it. You were leaning on it this time, but a little bit of death smoke at the other end.
Well, Brian tells me it's not that bad. If anybody can fix it, this guy can, right here.
Brian, we talked just a few seconds ago. You were talking about chasing problems with plug nozzles. What do you think this situation was?
I think it plugged some nozzles again. The last event we ran, we lost the fuel cap off the fuel tank, and we thought it was okay, and we had one plugged nozzle at the last event and burnt one piston, and I'm quite sure that it did it again because it's the same motor.
And in these motors, a burnt piston's not a real serious deal.
I haven't burned a piston in 7 years, but the drag race guys can do it in 6 minutes and 1 second. I think I can do it in 6 hours and one minute.
We're talking major league crisis then. First one in 6 years?
Yeah, no problem. We'll have her going tomorrow.
There you go. A good run for Rodelyn Knox anyway.
Cool under pressure as well. This is the view from the sled for Rodelyn Knox's pull, 294.43.
Yeah, and Brian talked about plugging a nozzle. A little bit of dirt in there. The takes fuel away. And fuel can actually quench the cylinder temperatures, Eric. It can cool it down. And when you
It is a long way to trailer from Weir, New Hampshire to Inwood, Ontario, but Rodelyn Knox makes it all worthwhile.
Well, Rodelyn, congratulations. 294 and 4, a little bit of death smoke, but you still won the class.
Oh, it just feels so good. We've kind of had a rough year this year with a few problems, but boy, Brian's engines just ran flawlessly tonight with those SSI Superchargers on there. It just had a lot of power, and this track takes a lot of power, so.
Well, you know what it's like, too. You know Banner comes out, he's loaded for bear. Brockman drops in to try and mess up everybody's game plan, but you stuck to yours. Brian made a lot of horsepower, and you did the right thing tonight. It's a great win for you on a tough track.
Being in a pull-off with Dave Banner and Jim Brockman is probably one of the toughest pull-offs I've been in. Those guys are really tough, but like I said, our tractor ran just flawlessly tonight, and it was just our night.
Congratulations again.
Thanks very much.
Rodelyn Knox, the winner of the Unlimited Modified Tractors at the Twin Creek NTPA Grand Nationals.
Big smile and one heck of a racer. So, the Revell Monogram performer of the race has to be Rodelyn Knox.
And why not, Eric? Anytime you go up against the likes of Banner, Heilman, Stone, Brockman, you name it, she had a good run.
Set to light the wicks on Ford Dodge JP1 Hemis of the tractor known as Country Girl with Rodelyn Knox of Weir, New Hampshire at the controls. She won the pull at Inwood on race line last year, but I was really surprised that she really curtailed a lot of her pulling and really cut back her schedule in 94.
Yeah, they opted not to run the complete NTPA circuit. They did some special shows and ran for another sanctioning body throughout the course of the summer. But this one is probably about the closest event to their home, so why not show up close to the barn? They're just across in the next state of New Hampshire.
And let's not forget that a lot of these tractors and their teams are family operations, and a lot of times you want to spend more time at home, and that's what Rodelyn is doing in 1994 aboard Country Girl, first lady of NTPA tractor pulling, her 4th year of competition, and she was 4th in 93 points overall.
You know, you talked about the family aspect, and I guess that's one thing that intrigues me about motorsport in generally, is that you get a chance to play with the family. Son Brian builds the motors, built the tractor, Father John is crew chief, and together with Rodelyn, they make a pretty venerable team, to say the least. They're extremely tough wherever they go, but it's just nice that they can participate as a family.
Now, let me ask you this. Does this affect her momentum at all and her timing, the fact that she's not running as many events this year as she did last year? Does she ever get too cold between events?
I don't think so. Rodelyn's got a lot of experience when it comes to alcohol funny cars. Now, here's a lady that's run 220 miles an hour. I think once you get into that groove, you don't lose the touch.
Like riding a bike.
Exactly. And the bottom line is this, is that Brian, her son, has given her plenty of horsepower to go dance with the big boys here. When Rodelyn uncorks this little jewel, everything is going to happen in a hurry. Nobody does it any better. She's one of the best.
Now, Ford Dodge JP1 Hemis, but the chassis is set up for her to run as many as 6 if she wants to.
That's right. There's a number of options, and they've opted to run the 4 engines in this class. Keep in mind, we talked about loose track conditions with a high sand content. They may not need all 6 engines, so take them off, add the weight on somewhere else, and go for it.
Let's see what Country Girl and Rodelyn Knox can do here on this loose surface. Gets the front end up pretty square, but off to the left side of the run here, John.
Same thing, Eric. I think they're taking a look at it. The track officials have the option to look at the first number of pulls before they declare it official, and I don't believe we've gone official yet. So the track officials, in conjunction with the first 1 or 2 pullers, are going to decide whether or not the sled is too heavy.
256.8 for Rodelyn Knox and only 239.8 for Joe Etter aboard Chevy Thunder. So a sled reset, maybe?
I would suggest so. I think that these tractors are easily capable of 300 feet. I think they're going to go back. They're going to take a look at this type of a run. And here Rodelyn's got it wide open. She didn't roll but 10 feet out of the hole, and it was full steam ahead.
Just not getting the distance here, so look for a sled reset.
Well, Rodelyn, it never fails. You seem to get a rise out of the crowd every time you make a lap. You punched it out into the #1 position, but the word is now they're going to change the sled.
Yeah, I thought the sled was really heavy. I'm not surprised.
What are you going to do next time around? Same deal, just hard on the throttle and go for it?
Well, yeah, I'll just look at, the conditions of the track when I run. We'll probably drop 6, so we'll see what happens then.
Good luck. Go get them.
Thanks.
Now here's the run I've been waiting to see. Rodelyn Knox didn't do too badly before they set the sled, but make the sled fair and square, and you're maybe looking at a full pull this early in the program right here with Rodelyn.
Well, son Brian and father/husband John would go back to the pit area. They would refuel the tractor to put more in, because keep in mind, this thing will burn about 5 or 6 gallons in a 300-foot run.
Right.
And what they would also do is analyze with Rodelyn whether or not they need to make a gear selection change in the transmission, either speed up or slow down the wheels, keeping in mind that they generally spin the wheels in excess of 100 miles an hour. They can vary that right up to about $1.30, depending on track conditions.
4 Dodge JP1 Hemis, running a limited schedule in '94. Macon, Georgia, in actual fact, was her only Grand National hook prior to Essex Junction.
Now we're going to find out what kind of track is really here. Rodelyn's got 6,000 serious horsepower in front of us. They can turn the wheel speed to 120. Now we can find out if somebody can get a hold of this thing.
Front end in the air, get set to touch the high number buttons, because this looks like a good one. Right down the middle, just a little off to the left, John.
If she's not had to use a lot of brakes, that was a good pass.
And it is a good pass. 296 with a 3 for Rodelyn Knox, as we predicted. Best pull so far.
I think they're going to be really pleased with that. They've set the high watermark early in the going, and now they're the ones to beat.
You know, when you start these tractor pulls, you look down the entry list. If there's one person in the field that can knock off the banners, it's Rodelyn Knox, and she's got a good one here.
Now, they've gone slightly to the left-hand side of center. Take a look at how Rodelyn works the steering wheel in anticipation of setting the front end down. A little bit of a bobble there with the front end down, stretches it out, and good solid run.
Closer and closer to that full pull.
Well, she's got the helmet off, and she can hear now. Rodelyn, it never fails. Every time you lay down a lap, the crowd goes just banana. You're at 296 and 3. Congratulations, nice run.
Thanks. I think that's a good run. Somebody might get it out, but it's a real sand track, and it's real tough to drive on.
Now the tractor looked really good. It hiked the front end early on out and carried it about a foot off the ground all the way down. Did you have to work the brakes at all?
I was on the brake really hard right in the middle of the track because it wanted to pull left, so hopefully that'll stand.
If anybody's got a shot, who can come out ahead of you?
Oh, Banner's 2 are back there, so they're always tough.
Well, Rodelyn Knox is going to be our next puller, and on the circuit, she's known as the country girl. And although Rodelyn is one of the most successful tractor pullers in competition, at heart, she truly is a country girl.
She's had a lot of firsts.
I was a wife and a mother before I ever started drag racing or tractor pulling. I love being at home and baking bread and quilting. That satisfies the domestic part of me, but I really like the excitement of the tractor pulling and racing, and that satisfies the adventurous part of me. Our business is right at home. Our garage is right next to our home, so when we go to work in the morning, we walk out about 30 feet and unlock the shop door and go to work, and it's really great. And it's great also that we're a family and we work together. Everyone does a certain job, and that works really well because we all know each other so well, and it just sort of meshes together. My husband John and my son Brian and in the shop, and our other son Daniel, who is a musician, a full-time musician, who's worked very hard at his craft as well, and we're very proud of what he does. Our tractor pulling competition was a hobby at first. We started that in 1980. And it gradually grew into a full-time business for us. We started the engine business in 1990, and from then on, it's just grown.
It takes the efforts of the entire Knox family, Rodelyn, John, Brian, and even son Dan, to really make their engines sing.
Hey, you guys, are you ready to tune these engines?
We sure are.
Yeah, if you got the tone.
But right now, Rodelyn, Dan, is ready to rock and roll for real. 4 500 cubic inch Dodge Hemis. Her son Brian may be the most knowledgeable tuner out here. Let's watch. Well, control was Rodelyn's biggest problem.
I'll tell you what, that was a great job of driving there. Brian is a real good tuner, but Mom showed what she could do right there. You could see the butterflies opening and closing. She really had good throttle control.
And I'm surprised she got that out of shape because they use a 4-link motor mount setup that is supposed to eliminate that torque steer that she's going through right now.
That's right. We talked to them about that earlier today, and they set those engines up to kind of tilt to one side to compensate for that right torque. But here it seemed to get a little bit out of control. They might be making more power than they think.
All right, here's the official numbers, 297.2 feet. And let me tell you that 3 tractors, the 3 that pull the furthest, regardless of whether or not it's a full pull, will make a pull-off tonight. So Rodelyn now is number 2 in that pull-off. You can tell her that in person, Bob Gerald.
Well, Rodelyn Knox is getting ready to come down here to us, and we'll be able to get a word with her in just a second as she climbs out of the Country Girl. And a fantastic job she did there. Rodelyn, nice job of driving, because I know it was all over the track down there.
Yeah, it's a really biting track, and it really got hooked in hard. And when it does that, sometimes it's hard to handle. But I think the tractor ran real well, and I'm real happy with the results of it. Hopefully, there's 5 tractors left, so I hope it gets us in the pull-off.
She's going to be one that's going to be down here waiting. Now, Rodelyn Knox is the first woman to ever win a Grand National Modified title or in the Modified division.
I'm here with Brian. This is Rodelyn's crew chief. Brian, what do you got in this?
We have Ford 510 JP1s with SSI Supercharges on them. It's going to take a good straight run this time. We're making a lot of power. And on the last run, we had a little bit of problem with it turning left up there on the top end. It hit a rut, and she had to use the brake really hard, so we're changing the position of the sled for this run and see if we can make it go straight.
Well, good luck. Back upstairs, Steve. I hope it's a full pull for you.
That's what we're shooting for.
Upstairs.
That is one talented young man, Dan.
That's no kidding. We were out here talking to him earlier today, and remember, he was saying they made the run last night, and he said, yeah, we turned about 7,000 or 7,500 RPM. I said, oh, is that what the tattletale said? And he said, no, I could hear it.
Doesn't even have a tachometer.
He doesn't need one. You know what he does? He raises light Bantam show chickens.
Show chickens?
Show chickens. He's won Best of Show in Ohio in the last 4 years. Can you believe that?
There's a chicken joke there somewhere. But right now, it's serious business for his mom, Rodelyn Knox. The family calls her Pete.
I wonder if
I don't know why.
Katie is going to be pulling for her since she's the only girl. I like Rodelyn. She's an old drag racer. She's raced for years, and she's a real competitive lady.
I'll tell you, she's fearless. She had some fires in those early funny car days. Scare you to death.
Yes, she did.
The Country Girl with that wonderful lyrical New Hampshire accent and 4 lyrical Hemis.
I was lusting over them earlier.
Drooling would be the word.
I was trying to figure out how I could take them home with me.
And there's her competition looking on.
Yeah, old Steve is down there wishing the best, but I don't know. Steve had a rough go himself, and I don't know. We'll see what Rodelyn can do here.
Let's see if Brian, her son and crew chief, approaches his tractor at all, because he has got little valves he can turn on and off. Did you notice that on the fuel system?
Yeah.
Really sophisticated stuff.
They really do have a sophisticated fuel system. They run a lot of the fuel through the blowers because they have a problem keeping those blowers cool. They run their blowers at 65% over, so that's a lot of spinning.
And Brian relies a lot on Ken Vinny, the famous drag racing tuner. They're very close friends. Rodelyn backs it in, gets hooked. She'll take the slack out of the chain, and then it's all up to her. Nothing Brian or anybody else can do to help her. And she's a master at throttle control. Let's watch. Trying to get it into gear.
Looks like it won't go into gear.
It's a Crowder Glide style clutches in all 4 of those bell housings. And sometimes, as you well know, if you rock it back and forth, you can get it out of reverse and back into forward gear.
But you know, those transfer cases go through so much pressure when they spin those motors, and all that horsepower going through those transfer cases. Here it looks like she's got it straightened out. Let's see what she does here. There she goes. She's hooked up.
Boy, that was a lot of last second pressure she didn't need.
Here she goes. Looks good.
Butterflies are wide open.
Butterflies are wide open. She's not holding back here at all.
Steve Klingenberg looking on.
Yes, I think she got it.
He doesn't think so. The crowd is stunned right now because Rodelyn Knox reeled off 310.5 feet. Bobby, she's got to be tickled.
And she has to have nerves of steel, because at the beginning, Rodelyn, there was a little bit of a delay up there. Something obviously had gone wrong, and then you're able to come out with that great pull. What was going on?
Well, I had trouble getting it out of reverse, so, you know, the engines are sitting there and they're getting hotter and hotter, and I was getting really mad. So anyway, we got it into forward, and it just made a heck of a run. It surprised me even.
Tell me about that run. Did you know right from the beginning, hey, this is going to be a good one?
I did. The first run I had, it really got hooked in too hard, and it just was hard to handle. This run just kind of came up nicely, and the fuel system was right, and it just danced right down through there. It was great.
And she is very popular down here. She was waving to the fans earlier, and the fans were going crazy. I think you are definitely the favorite in their hearts right now as Art Arfons gets ready to stage, and we'll keep you down here, all right, to watch her reaction now to the run by the Hall of Famer, Art Arfons.
Well, you know, Art's got his work cut out for him here. He was about 2 feet longer than her pole, but on his first run, but he's going to have a lot of work cut out for him on this run.
And I guarantee you, Rodelyn is not looking past Art Arfons
Not
for
at
first
all.
place tonight. She knows better than that.
What a great run she had. It was a totally well-mannered run.
And there's Rodelyn. She's laughing. She's trying to get rid of the nerves, I think. And Art's daughter, Dusty, lining him up. Let's see if he goes a little more towards the inside on this second pole. The all-important pole, really.
I guess he didn't have problems with that right engine. It doesn't look like it anyway.
Good thing those rear tires last a long time because they cost about $5 grand a pop.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I wonder how long they last a season.
They get a lot out of it. Look at this. She's got everything crossed but her eyes. She'd do that if she knew how, but be careful. They might stick like that.
That looked like me before a few football games.
You were throwing up, actually. She's not to that point. That famous Monday night game in Oakland, yeah. Arfons, he's so cool. It's almost like he's punishing her here.
Well, this isn't his first time down the track. He's had a little bit of experience in his 71 years. I just hope I look that good when I'm 71.
Oh, baby.
He's hooked. He's ready to go.
Now, he had a hard time starting the port motor the last time, or one of those motors. It was that one right there. It said it started hot, and then he had to shut it off and start it again. On board, it looks like they're hot this time.
Well, the one looks hot. The right one doesn't look like it's starting again.
Rodelyn is thinking, I hate the whine of those turbines. I love the man, hate the turbines.
There's a lot of mutual admiration out here, but there is a lot of competitiveness, too. I mean, they all want to win really badly.
Let me tell you what, these machines eat money. And Rodelyn is just one pull away from a pretty good payday.
He looks like he's having that same problem he had before.
Rodelyn, please, Art, pull.
Start.
Do something. If he shuts it down and gives up, then we'll see a lady come off the dirt there.
I think he's got a serious problem.
Another stoic expression. Well, she's from New Hampshire. They are stoic.
Tough lady.
Kind of what he did before, this same kind of start ritual, and then he just pounded the thing out the back door, a full pull.
I wonder if he heard something in that port engine, like you said.
71.
See, there's something dripping out of there. I just saw something drip out. That's fuel. That's not a good sign.
All right, has a very simple strategy.
Go further than anyone else. I like it.
Always worked for you throwing the football.
Here he
right?
goes. Here he goes.
Oh, Rodelyn. I'd be nervous if I was her.
Oh, she wins.
Arfons comes up short. Rodelyn turns into a cheerleader for herself.
Yep.
The whole family going to gather around here. That was just a great effort. Bobby Gerald, they're having some fun now.
Rodelyn, congratulations to you. How's it feel?
It feels great. You know, my team just did such a great job getting the tractor prepared, and we had a little bit of trouble on that first run, but we kind of got it all together on the second round, and I'm just so happy.
The whole family's involved in this, as we saw in the feature piece earlier, with Brian tuning everything up for you out there. How gratifying is it to know that all of your family's involved in the sport and in bringing you to victory here?
It's wonderful. It just gives me a lot of confidence having my family with me. My son Brian, who's my crew chief and builds the engines and does such a great job with the fuel systems, and my husband John and our crew member Ted Barris, who's from Holland, came all the way here to help us this year, so it's wonderful.
Congratulations. Go get you some champagne.
Thanks very much.
Rodelyn Knox is the winner. We'll see her on the victory podium.
And, you know, aside from the prestige and cash awards the winners in each class will earn, they will also receive very valuable gift certificates from two of the most respected names in the performance industry, Crane Cams and B&M Racing and Performance Products. Rodelyn, you'll get some of that good stuff as well. Okay, we're going to be back with those big rig trucks, and they pull the sled. Can they get the job done with 4,000 power? More than likely. Okay, all you ladies at home, we're back at the NTPA Dairyland Super Nationals, the biggest, best, most prestigious tractor pull in all the land, and one of your own just pulled it off. Rodelyn Knox has won the unlimited class, really, in this sport at 310.5 feet. She just conked him, Dan
I'll tell you
Pastorini.
what, she really did a great job of driving here, and there's nothing worse for a driver to have someone come and do something in the cockpit when you're ready to go and focus. She did a great job. Look at her here. She's busy with the steering wheel. She's pumping the clutch. She's working the brake. She's doing a heck of a job driving that tractor.
Unbelievable. Both hands, both feet.
It's like rubbing your tummy and patting your head, buddy. You're in there busy.
Similar to trying to fly a helicopter. Happy, happy, happy. They're going to uncork the bubbly down in the winner's circle. Ah, yeah. Rodelyn Knox has done it all for you.
I am where the mud is flying and the smell of burnt fuel is in the air. I am at the Anoka County Fair. It's been going on all week. It goes through the weekend. And one of the highlights is always the truck and tractor pull. And that's what's going on right now. And if you haven't seen one of these truck and tractor pulls lately, you might be surprised at who's doing the driving. These guys are gearing up for another pull. Jeff, Steve, these toys definitely seem to be the domain of the boys. You know, that brings up a good question. Where are the women? Oh, sure, they let them spiff them up a bit, but when it comes to getting them muddy, well, that goes to the men. Probably just as well, because what girl could handle a 4-engine supercharged 8,000 horsepower tractor, right? Rodelyn Knox, that's who. This country girl likes to go.
It's really hard to describe it. It's just very intense. That's, I guess, how I can describe it.
Okay. Yep, this Sassy Massie is driven by a lassie. Her son Brian makes the motors, and husband John keeps them running. The decision to have Rodelyn drive goes back to their drag racing days.
I could always make the car go a tenth or two quicker than he could, so he thought that was really cool, and he said, well, you do the driving, and I'm going to tune the car, and that's what we're going to do, and it's been that way ever since. Not something you see so much in the world of truck and tractor pulling, but the times, they are changing. Slowly. I guess that little women in racing thing is still there, but we have to try a little harder and prove ourselves a little more, but we can do it. Rodelyn has certainly done it, two-time NTPA Grand National Champion. And tonight, the country girl will be pulling for a third. And the young women in the audience pulling for her will see that even in the male-dominated sport of truck and tractor pulling, there's plenty of girl power. Just believe in yourself and know that you have the power to do whatever it is that you want to do. You have the power, definitely, huh? There's power in a lot of different things. Mine happens to be on 4 wheels, but women have the power to do what they want to do, and that's the message that I would like them to take home. And now we've got a treat for you. Let's do it. Shake, rattle, and roll. Here she is. We've got her live pull here at the Anoka County Fair. Remember, she's got 4 engines on there. 8,000 the country girl there are from New Hampshire. Listen to the crowd. John, come over here. John, how was that one? Was that a good one?
Yes, that was a very good run. The track turned out very good here tonight, and we were kind of scared of it with all the rain that they had up here in Minnesota, but it ended up very good.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Yes, that is one. Sassy Massie, and there's Rodelyn right there. Give us a wave, Rodelyn. Nice run. Wasn't that wonderful? Oh, my goodness, I'm still shaking. I can't hear a thing.
Today we have an opportunity to sit down and visit with probably one of the busiest young men in the sport of engine building, the Sassy Engine Building Operation out of New Hampshire. The Knox family's the name. It's a mom, dad, and son operation. And Brian Knox, the son, has an opportunity to take a few minutes with us and spend some time. And, you know, it's really amazing about your family, because the story behind it, the word Hemi, I think probably was the first word this guy ever learned to spell, because you've been involved in motorsports how long?
Oh, since 1968. I was 4 years old, and my parents had a drag car it was a Plymouth Belvedere with a 426 Chrysler Hemi in it, and they drag raced up through 1979. So there's never been a time that I don't remember having a Hemi in the garage. And so then we started tractor pulling in 1979. My mom drove all the race cars, and then she took a break for 10 years. We had different guys driving. And then in 1990, she came back driving. My dad sold his interest in the equipment business that he had, and we went full-time into engine building and running the pulling tractor. And we had a very successful career and had 3 national championships. And we actually went out on top. The last 2 years, we won the Unlimited Championship. So it was... We were very fortunate, and our business just grew so much that we couldn't do both, so we decided to concentrate on the engine building. It just got to be too much for us to handle. So,
You know, I find that interesting because you talked about your mother driving the drag cars and everything, and then you talk about the national championships you won in the sport of pulling. Who was driving that vehicle?
Oh, my mom drove when we won all the championships. She was an incredible driver. She just had that natural feel for when it would hook up and not, and she knew what to do. And she was the only driver I ever worked with that actually, we blew up a gearbox one time and she lifted before the engines went into neutral. I thought that was incredible. So she just had a natural feel for it.
Yeah, I would have thought that was incredible too, because I know what you're thinking. You didn't have to put it back together. Way to go, Mom. That's good. Listen, the engine building program is kind of interesting because you assemble engines for people all over the country. You talked about how it grows and everything, but you're out here actually hands-on. You provide a service to these people that need help at a track or what have you. You guys aren't just buy it by phone and ship it in and what have you. You're here to help people, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true, and I actually still enjoy coming to the pulls. I love watching them run, and I want my customers to win, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to help them do that. And being out here and helping them with the motor and helping tuning, and I just have a lot of experience. I've done it a lot. I've been in a lot of different situations, conditions, and I try to help them any way I can.
You bring a lot of knowledge with you. Well, listen, again, we want to thank Brian for taking the time to come over and visit with us.
Since the year 1980, the NTPA has inducted 44 men into its Hall of Fame. Tonight, we induct its first woman. 10 years after NTPA's first Hall of Fame members were being introduced, this gal embarked on her rookie journey in NTPA Grand National competition. Many remember her as the country girl, while others simply knew her as Rodelyn Knox. It was Knox's 12 years worth of experience in drag racing, the final 2 years behind the wheel of a 230-mile-per-hour nitro funny car that gave her the confidence needed to accept son Brian's request in 1989 to become the driver of the Massey Ferguson industrial-sponsored Sassy Massie Modified. With her drag racing experience, Knox understood speed, horsepower, and the thrill of competition and its demand. But pulling was a different animal, as it took place on dirt, not asphalt. With multiple supercharged JP1 Hemis on board, Knox had greater power at her disposal. But Brian and husband John knew that Rodelyn was more than just a female participant and temporary driver. They knew they were putting someone special behind the wheel. 1990 was a magical summer as Rodelyn Knox began her initial journey on the NTPA Grand National Tour in the modified and unlimited categories. Rodelyn racked up 21 top 5 finishes over 33 hooks, including 4 wins and 5 runner-up finishes. Knox was the first woman ever to qualify for the Enderley pull-off. At season's end, Knox was 3rd place, the final point tally behind 2 veterans, Gardner Stone and the Banter brothers. As the cover of the October 1990 Puller magazine stated, it was a rookie season to remember for Rodelyn. At the NTPA Awards banquet, she took home the coveted Rookie of the Year award, while Brian earned Mechanic of the Year honors, confirming his engine building and fuel system prowess. Knox began the year 1991 by becoming the first woman ever to win any class at the famed Indy Super Pull. She followed up her rookie campaign by once again finishing third in the Grand National Unlimited point tally. Over the next few seasons, Knox finished runner-up in the points in 1992 and then fourth place in 1993. Then in 1995, Rodelyn took home her first NTPA Grand National points title in the unlimited category. She overcame the Walsh brothers during the month of August to do so, winning 3 out of 4 events. The championship was yet another historic feat, as Knox became the first ever female to hold an NTPA Grand National title. Unfortunately, health reasons forced the Knoxes to miss 1996, but they returned to the NTPA circuit with a vengeance in 1997. It was Weir, New Hampshire's Knox outdueling Middlebury, Vermont's Gardner Stone near their respective homesteads on Labor Day 1997 in Essex Junction, Vermont, that gave Knox her second NTPA title in the unlimited division by 4 points. Also earlier in the season, Knox won the first ever live, prime-time, televised Motor Madness show on the Nashville network, held in Tomah, Wisconsin. In what turned out to be Rodelyn's final season of competition in 1998, she took the Mopar Performance Parts-sponsored Sassy Massie to a third and final NTPA Grand National Unlimited Championship, with another slim 4-point margin over Gardner Stone. 10 years later, Knox is still the only woman to ever win an NTPA Grand National title. The Knox's retirement from competition resulted from the fact that their on-track successes cultivated a booming business for their Sassy racing engine endeavors. The business has allowed them to stay very much behind the scenes of the sport to this day. In retrospect, during 8 active seasons, Rodelyn accomplished many firsts in her career. She won many pulling events and many fans' hearts. And tonight, she makes NTPA history again by being the first female inductee into its Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage tonight's second NTPA Hall of Fame Award inductee, Rodelyn Knox.
Pounding faster than when I drove that tractor. I'm almost speechless. I just thank you so much for accepting me into the Hall of Fame. It's something that I never expected. Being accepted is wonderful. I remember in the early days when I drove my drag race car, which I saw a picture of it up there, which was kind of nice. It brought back a lot of memories, and I'm old enough to have some stories, so I'll tell you this little story that happened to me in those early days. It was 40 years ago when I drove my first drag race car, and in those days, the guys were not real happy with having a girl competing with them, but that was okay. I did it anyway, and John built me a really good car, and we went to the racetrack one day. I had been competing with these men the whole season. So I went to the racetrack, and I found out that the guys that I was competing against in this class, there were about 20 of them, and they had written up a petition against me for no reason. They just did. They didn't want me to compete with them. And they handed it to Jack Doyle, who was the track manager at New England Dragway at that time. And so I was pretty scared. I thought, I'm going to get my butt kicked out of here. And Jack took the petition and he looked at it and he handed it back to them and said, I've been watching her drive the whole season with you guys, and I haven't seen her do anything that would make me want to kick her out. So you guys are just going to have to go back and figure out how to run with her. And Jack Doyle saved my career that day. He's a man that I'll never forget. I couldn't tell you the names of any of those guys that signed that petition, but I'll never forget Jack Doyle, because I wouldn't be standing here tonight if it wasn't for him. So and then 20 years later, it was more than 20 years later, my son Brian asked me to drive his 6-engine pulling tractor.
And I was pretty confident that I could do it. I loved driving all the tractors that he built for me. That was such fun. I really miss that. And so, the best part of it was sometimes you remember the little things that happened, and I think the best part of driving the tractor was at the end of the run when I would make a good run, and Brian always would run up to the tractor. I'd back up the sled. He'd run up to the tractor, and I'd see him look at me. We'd make eye contact. He'd give me that little thumbs up. And the best part was the look on his face. Was priceless. And I think there's a lot of moms here tonight that can definitely understand what I'm talking about. So I've had a great time. It's been a wonderful career and some ups and downs, and just thanks to everybody, and thank you so much for considering me for this. I never expected it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.